Once I did that, that's when my company scaled. You must have faith. Your faith is the most important thing in what you're doing. The two skill sets that I think are the most important for a doctor are sales and leadership. If you can sell, you have conviction, you have confidence, you believe in what you do, then the leadership is what scales that. I want to surround myself with absolute badasses. You're going to seek out advice to people who are already going to give you the answer that you want. Hell yeah, dude. You only live once. Do it. The franchisees, my doctors, my CAs, their goal is to be that standard. It's a really cool process when you see them take hold of that and become a better version of themselves. And I was talking to people who don't think like me. They're going to be like, hey, Jesse, you're good. You got a beautiful house now. You got this and that. Like, maybe you should save your money. My core values are faith, family, freedom, and fortitude.
Jesse Jacobs, welcome to the show. How you doing, man?
Doing great, brother. How are you?
Great. Thanks for doing this. So where I want to start is you said something that I found very interesting. You said that in order to be a successful chiropractor, you have to be a better business person than you do a chiropractor. What does that mean to you, and how does that actually show up to you on a day-to-day basis of like how you actually practice or run a business?
Yeah, well, first off, thank you so much for asking that question, because when it comes down to most chiropractors that I see, they've built their identity through adjusting spines, being the healer or the facilitator of healing. And I did that too. That's how I started. I wanted to be the best chiropractor I could be until I realized that skill doesn't scale. And the only thing that really scales is that the systems you create. So being a better business person to me means that I wake up thinking about my people. Whereas earlier, when I first started, it was, I want to get this person better. I want to focus on my community, and that never changes. But when you think about your process, your procedures, your performance, not just your patients, that's being a better business person versus clinician. I can also tell you one thing, that clinicians don't scale past a certain level. So you must become a better business person than you are a clinician. Should you be the best clinician possible? Yes. But you also need to be a better business person. So,
I like it. So how does that actually show up in day-to-day for you then? Because I can imagine that for most practitioners, and I see this all the time, especially with people, with doctors that I talk to, is that they're generally speaking like a solo practitioner probably, trying to do all the things from like both being a practitioner and also trying to run the business side of things. And eventually, as you said, like you probably reach a max point where like you essentially can't scale any farther trying to do both things. So I'm curious then, is like, what did maybe that transition look like for you? And also like, what are you doing now versus then that allowed you to get past that scaling point that I'd be willing to bet most doctors probably run into, which is why most doctors just stay a solo practitioner, which is fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But if you have ambitions to scale, like how do you actually do that?
yeah, I mean, first off, statistically, most chiropractors are never going to be able to scale because it's just not their personality type. They are what I call farmer doctors. They are clinical expertise doctors. They want to really focus on giving quality chiropractic care, getting people better. They don't care about the business side, but there is a business side to it. If you have no money, you have no mission, okay? So you can't serve people unless you could put food on the table for you and your family. One of my mentors, the question you asked was, where's that threshold that you need to be really focused on, the business and scaling? One thing that I realized was when you have low data, you have high drama. So you don't know where your holes are in the bucket. You don't know why you're experiencing this or that. You have low new patient numbers. Your percentage kept or patients keeping their appointments are low. Your ads aren't performing. Whatever it is, if you don't have the data, you have high drama, and that gets in your head. Then you get in your head, you're dead. But when you get high data, then you have low drama. I mean, I was having a conversation with my doctors at my main office today, and I was going over their conversion, and I was going over conversion process versus lifestyle conversion process. I was diving into the numbers, deep diving, so they could see the problem is not this, it's actually this number. So with low data, you got high drama. I trust my team and my doctors to deliver the highest quality care, but my job is to give them clarity, accountability, and the resources to grow. So really the truth of it is, when you put your team in front of yourself, that's when you start to become an amazing business person. If you lose sight of that, then you're just another chiropractor with a job, not a CEO building anything special.
Was the mentor Dr. Stephen Franson that told you that?
I got a lot of mentors. Dr. Franson is one of them for sure.
Yeah, the only reason I say that is I was literally just with him a few weeks ago, actually, at a conference in Denver, and he said the very similar statement to me. And so it's right, it's accurate. I'm just curious.
That's hard to say. I would not say it's top line. Top line revenue is there's a fallacy there, thinking that you're actually making money when your expenses could go up. I mean, obviously it would be net profit, or what I call, and Dr. Franson calls, net momentum. When you can see your momentum in your practice, so how many patients are you adding to the practice, then you can actually dictate and predict your growth. Top line revenue collections are usually what everybody looks at. But I mean, to me, it's net profit. It's like, what are you bringing home? That's, to me personally, what are you bringing home at the end of the day? Because everybody says, oh, I see 500 a week. Cool, but you see them at $20 a pop, and your expenses, you have 10% margins, right? So it would be net profit or margins. That's really, I would say, the most important metric when it comes to your just overall business, not chiropractic related.
This leads me to a nice little segue in regards to the team, I guess. You said you've been able to keep people on for 5+ years, which I think is incredible, especially for the chiropractic industry. I'm curious as to, there's two parts to this question. I'm honestly like almost selfishly asking for my fiance, who is in the current moments challenged with hiring and keeping talent. And it's like, that's really where I'm going with this question, is like, one side of the equation is like, how do you hire? Like, because that's a skill like anything else in this world. And so like, how do you hire appropriately? Like, what are you looking for? And then also two, how do you retain? How do you keep people around?
I mean, I think that's a culture question, if you ask me, because when you hire someone, I'm not hiring for their resume. I'm not hiring based off their skills, because to be straight with you, I can teach or train someone those skills, but I can't change the character of that person. So when I hire someone, do they align with our core values? Do they align with our mission? If I get someone that doesn't align with those things, there's no way, no matter what I pay them, they're not going to stay with me. Another component to that is really more geared around the vision and the clarity that you're providing for your team. So one of the first questions we ask our doctors, our CAs, my C-suite level employees, where do you see yourself in a year, 3 years, 5 years? Like, what's the end game? Because I want to serve you. I want to make sure we're doing this together. And if I don't know where you want to be, how the hell am I going to be able to provide you the resources and get to that point? So I think clarity is a huge, huge component to leadership in this regard. So like my team that's been with me 5, 7, 8 years, they had goals that were buying a house, buying a certain type of car, having babies, being able to move out of their parents' house with their fiance at the time. You know, you end up doing life with these people, and when you see them achieve the goals that they set 2, 3, 5 years earlier, it's the most fulfilling thing you can get as a leader. So, man, hiring people, it all starts with core values, which is a whole different conversation we can dive into. But the core values are what you stand for. That's, as Dr. Franson, one of my mentors, says, that's the bouncer to your practice, the bouncer to your business. That's the person sitting in the back saying, nope, can't come in. Yeah, you're good. It's the lens in which your office, your business is perceived through. So you got to dive into those core values and see what resonates with you. And then that's going to attract the right people into your practice, into your business, and onto your team.
Yeah, it's one of those words that like feels so soft, right? Is like culture. Like what does that mean? And like, but I would argue, and I think you would probably agree, that when it comes to a practice that's actually trying to scale, your culture and your team and your values are probably some of the most important things. And obviously your vision as well, right? Is like, because it always makes me think of like the whole scenario going on right now with Meta and Elon and this whole AI thing, and they're trying to recruit top level AI agents or AI employees to come and build and create the next AI machine for their companies. And Meta was offering these, like, I think it was like $100 million signing contracts to come to Meta and to use and to build the AI. And most of them actually are ended up going to Elon and helping him build Grok. And it wasn't because of the paycheck, it was because of the mission that he is driving towards, right? And I think that's just like a great overarching example of how powerful something of like a vision, a mission, a culture, and values can be. Is like people will happily give up $100 million, obviously, in this scenario, if they know the work that they're doing actually matters. So I'm curious for you in terms of like, how have you been able to do this in the chiropractic world? And what are some maybe like even like frameworks or some non-negotiables that you have implemented into this like culture team building thing that you found to be successful to help you build this team?
Yeah, I mean, again, these are incredible questions. Okay, so culture is by far the hardest thing to scale, and that's why you'll see chiropractors open one, maybe two or three offices, and then they don't have the bandwidth because they don't have the culture, right? You cannot be at all different places at all times. The chiropractors that open up multiple offices, they're like here one day, there the other day, they're here a half day, and then the other location too. That never works. I've never been outside my one office. When we built second office, third office, fourth office, I always stayed put. But here's the deal, Corey. What I realized was I thought I had a really good culture. When I first opened my practice, we were killing it, taught someone, they killed it. Third one, they were kind of doing good, but not as good as I wanted them to be. Then I started to look at it and I'm like, my culture is not as strong as I thought it was going to be, because we didn't have our 10 commandments. We didn't have our constitution. We had nothing to stand for. We were just another chiropractic office on the corner in a med-tail type of setting. The two skill sets that I think are the most important for a doctor who is aspiring to be a business owner are sales and leadership. I think if you can sell, that means you have conviction. That means you have confidence, most likely charisma. If you can sell, that means you believe in what you do, right? That's first. If you can't sell, which everybody nowadays has this negative connotation to sales, which is, I don't understand it, because you're getting sold on everything all the time. And then if you're good at sales, which means you're good at what you do, then the leadership is what scales that. So you can find all the other things, the marketing, the retention, the culture, but really what it comes down to, in my eyes, is sales and leadership.
So you have once said, quote, "Who gives a shit about how much you make if you have no freedom?"
Yeah, it's the truth.
What does that mean to you? And how does a doctor get out of just like a high earning job and into like actually the business owner?
Well, I mean, look, that's a deep question, and there's a lot to it. Like, I mean, number one, what is successful, right? Like, to me, you could be getting paid really well, but hate your job and hate your life. There's plenty of those people out there right now, right? Outside of our industry and in it. I see a lot of badass chiropractors who are incredible facilitators of healing. They're incredible adjusters, but they are handcuffed to the practice. They can't take vacation. They have to close their practice down if they want to go to their kid's soccer game, or they want to enjoy date night or date lunch or a coffee break with your spouse. So I think successful doctors, they get trapped in, they mistake revenue for freedom. They think the money is freedom, and there's no freedom in money. Actually, it's the opposite. The more money you make, the bigger the problems come, right? The bigger the problems just become bigger, and the mistakes become a little bit more exposed. So I would say that it's not about what you make. It's about producing what it's about what keeps getting produced when you're not there. Okay. So like, are you building systems that make money when you are not there? Like you've heard me say the 90-day rule. What happens when you leave your practice for 90 days? What breaks? Like if we wanted to dive into that, most people who are watching this, what happens? Let's not do 90 days. Let's just do 1 day. What happens when you leave for 1 day? Well, they're the only doctor and they have one CA. The CA can't adjust. So obviously everything breaks after 1 day. Okay, let's say you have a doctor and you have another CA. Okay, like let's say you go 2 days, or let's say a week, you want to go snowboarding or go to the beach with your family. Now what breaks? I mean, do visits drop? Does the marketing take a hit? Do your conversions drop? Like, let's say your businesses survive that. Now we go 1 month, 2 month, 3 month. If your business does not continue to grow without you there, you don't have a business, you have a job. If your energy and your systems disappear when you disappear, you got a disease. And that disease is called founder dependence. Your office, your company is fully dependent on you. You are the white knight. You come in with your cape and you save the day. And us as chiropractors, man, we love to put our name on that building. Jacob's Chiropractic, because it is about me. I heal. I take care of everybody. I'm the white knight. So it's so ego driven, and I see it everywhere. And it's like, we wonder why our profession is not growing, even though our industry is growing. The health and wellness industry, alternative medicine, conservative care, whatever you want to call it, it's growing. But why isn't our industry, why isn't our profession growing? And it's because most chiropractors cannot survive the 90-day test.
What's maybe like the most tangible step that a doctor could take this week to build that support system, or build that team, or build that culture, or just to like make sure they're getting around the right people?
Yeah, great question. And I will say this, why do it alone? And, when we look back, I always go back to like ancestral man and woman, right? We are tribal at our core. The only way our human species has been able to evolve is by being in tribes, right? If you had your family, then you could only protect your family so much. Then you got into a tribe, then people were watching your back, then tribes turned into cities. It just kept growing. And chiropractic is a tribe. We want everybody to do better. We want everybody to succeed. So but you know what's crazy is I don't have people calling me saying, hey, Dr. J, could you give me some advice on this? They know where to contact me, but they don't. So if you're a young doctor looking for guidance, if you're a established doctor that might be struggling, just pick up the phone. If you see someone that is living a life that you might want to be like, or you have a mentor that you look up to, reach out to them. We would always extend our hand and say, hey, come in, follow me. Let's jump on a phone call. Chiropractors are so selfless. They are such incredible humans that there's certain industries within our chiropractic profession that don't help others. But the vast majority of chiropractors want to help, especially our younger generation. So I would also say one other thing, which is you must have faith. Your faith is the most important thing in what you're doing. And My core values are faith, family, freedom, and fortitude, in that order, as Charlie Kirk said. You know, faith, number one, you have to have your relationship with God first. Then you have your family. Then you have your freedom, which is your country. Then you have your fortitude, your grit, your persistence, your resolve.
Funny thing is that there's like almost no unsolved problems, especially in the chiropractic space. Is like somebody's done what you're trying to do, you might as well ask them and get a little advice. What's your plug? Where can people find you? How do you want people to connect with you?
Yeah, man. You can find me at Dr. Jesse Jacobs, Dr. Jesse Jacobs, pretty much on any platform, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. You could go to my website, drjessejacobs.com. That's where we have our coaching, the Vitalis movement. Vitalis meaning being a vitalistic chiropractor, someone who really teaches the definition of doctor, which means teacher, being that lighthouse in your community. So you can find everything on there. You can inquire about franchising, coaching, or just being part of the crew. I'd love to help in any way. The thing that I really want from our profession is to create better chiropractors, to create badasses. What you said, Corey, was A+ players. We don't need B players or C players. We need the best of the best. So if something resonates with you that I said and you're interested in just being around my circle, because it's not me, it's me and my 45 crew members that really set the standard, come on board, give us a call. We'd love to talk to you and love to help you through whether it's your own practice, it's your associateship, or if it's possibly being a franchisee. We would go through that process and see if you're a good fit.